Rico's beaches and sunshine have always delighted tourists. But for years, the island's economy has struggled under a cloud of debt. Now the government insists the outlook is improving.
At the end of the day, we prove that the doomsday prophets about Puerto Rico being like Detroit or being like Greece, they forecasted wrong.
Creating tax incentives for business and promoting projects for development. Puerto Rico is taking steps to become a destination for investors, and people are taking notice.
I think that San Juan represents one of the great investment opportunities of my generation.
Can Puerto Rico come back from the brink of disaster and compete for capital?
Let me tell you something. I hate competing. I just like to win.
We'll give you a sweeping view of the island of debt and opportunity. Join us as Bloomberg TV heads to Puerto Rico. Welcome to a special report on Puerto Rico, island of debt and opportunity. I'm Stephanie Ruhle. Even after raising over $3 billion in a March bond sale, Puerto Rico is still $70 billion in debt. And that's just one difficulty the island faces, along with double-digit unemployment and energy prices that are double the average rate in the U.S. mainland, along with ratings downgrades. But Governor Alejandro Garcia Padilla has announced a comprehensive plan to surmount these challenges and turn the economy around. I visited Puerto Rico last month and asked the governor about the changes he's making and the tough road ahead.
We will be able to reduce the deficit, and I am about to approve the first balanced budget in 22 years. I told you that I will not fire people, and I'm balancing the budget without firing people. We have been able to reduce unemployment rate, to reduce very heavily the crime rate. So we're improving, and
How are you doing this? You've raised this money. It's going to buy you time. What are the actual action steps? Because you've got to get out from under a big, big deficit here.
Well, what that access to market that we proved that we have gave us, it was runway. So now we need to take off the economy, and we are doing that in a very comprehensive way. Tourism is blooming. Manufacturing is back on its feet again. We have been able to expand dozens of pharma industry or medical devices industries here in Puerto Rico. Unemployment average on my term have been 14. It's still high, but it was 16 with the previous governor. So it's in the way to go down.
But it's still double what it is in the States, and you're having a massive migration of people leaving Puerto Rico to the United States. How do you stop this bleed?
It's here like in everywhere. If there's no jobs and high crime rate, people leave. What we can do to stop that, reduce unemployment rate and enhance security and reduce crime rate, and we are doing both.
What kind of companies are you trying to attract here? Are there certain industries or companies that you're talking to now that are going to make a move?
Yes, we need to diversify. That's why we are entering very strongly into aerospace, for example. Honeywell is here and is expanding. Infosys, Hewlett-Packard, Pratt & Whitney, and now Lufthansa with the first MRO of that company in the hemisphere. It's a success story. At the end of the day, we prove that the doomsday prophets about Puerto Rico being like Detroit or being like Greece, they forecasted wrong.
But have they forecasted wrong? If you don't restructure your debt, you could end up looking like Argentina.
Well, that was, now it's good. Now they are comparing us with Argentina. They stopped comparing us with Detroit and with Greece. So we will keep fighting that. We will do that. At the end of the day, they said that the doomsday prophet, they said that we will not be able to go to the market. And we went very strongly.
Hold on, though. You went to the market, but it was distressed and high-yield investors in the U.S. that got to buy these deals, and it's a distressed opportunity for them. This is a risk to you. This is a lot of money you have to pay back. You've got to dig yourself out of a massive hole. So yes, you were able to sell this debt, but to the hands of somewhat loan sharks.
But let me go that way. Everybody said back then that it was to 11%, 10.5. It was 8.
You're right.
It's still high, but we were able. But even better is that for each dollar that we sold, there were 4 that were up to buy. So we sold 3.5. They were offered for $14, $16 billion. So the access is there. What do we need to do now? We need to lift up. We need to make our economy take off. And what we did, it was buying time, as you said before. Now we have the runway. Now we need to improve in tourism, improve in manufacturing, improve in agriculture, so the economy continue that's lift.
Do you need to modernize your energy system here? Your
Yes.
bills are still double what they are in the States. If you're going to have all this building here, this manufacturing, how are you going to do it while these energy bills are so high?
That's very important. But first, let's put apples with apples. If you compare Puerto Rico with the jurisdiction of the United States out of the continent, Puerto Rico is the cheapest. If you compare Puerto Rico with Hawaii or with USVI or even with Alaska, there's some areas in Alaska where you will pay 4 times what you pay in Puerto Rico. But we need to improve. What we are doing, we are now at FERC, and we are about to release the environmental impact document, turning Aguirre, our main power plant, into LNG. We are working with the San Juan power plant to transform that to propane. So we will be able to reduce the emissions and, of course, reduce the energy price.
The head of PREPA said he might have to have a rate hike. Is that going to kill Puerto Ricans?
No, well, it was 31 cents per kilowatt when I was sworn in. It's now 26. So we have been able to reduce. We need to reduce even more. And let me tell you, I'm trying, and I will do whatever I need to do to improve PREPA, improve the power authority without increasing the energy price.
Do you need to start over with PREPA? You've got agencies that haven't paid PREPA $300 million in unpaid bills.
Maybe.
How are they going to get out from under that?
Maybe that's one of the ideas around.
What happens if all the union workers say, I'm going on strike, I can't take this anymore?
That will not happen, and it's precisely because I told them that I will not fire people. That's happened with the previous governor. He fired 30,000 people, and that's have a domino effect. Mortgages went down, cars went down. So what I'm doing is trying to keep them in their position, earning their money, for them to pay their loans and their mortgage, so we can make everybody grow at the same time.
Governor Padilla is confident he's getting Puerto Rico's internal issues under control, but the success of his program hinges on attracting capital from outside the Commonwealth. Coming up, we'll look at new tax laws designed to make the island a paradise for investors, and they're creating plenty of interest.
My phone rings at this point, 3 or 4 times a week with people wanting to know a little bit more.
And we'll take you to Roosevelt Roads. Right now, a reminder of persistent problems, but a beacon of promise for the future.
We want a world-class developer to do something with order, with a plan.
Plus, more of my interview with the governor. Straight ahead on Puerto Rico, Island of Debt and Opportunity. More than 4 million tourists visited Puerto Rico last year. That's certainly good for the economy, but the government is also trying to persuade businesses and investors to stay permanently. 2 tax incentive programs enacted in 2012 have received hundreds of applications. They've already brought the island some high net worth transplants with high levels of enthusiasm.
I think that San Juan represents one of the great investment opportunities of my generation.
Nick Prouty is betting on the promise of Puerto Rico. He's not only making significant investments on the island, he's moved his office and family from Greenwich, Connecticut to San Juan.
Last year, I think I spent about 10 or 15 days outside of Puerto Rico. We're all in. We're not going home on the weekends.
To attract investors like Prouty, the Puerto Rican government created Acts 20 and 22, which offer tax exemptions to businesses that export their services from Puerto Rico to outside markets and to individuals who relocate to the island. The government forecasts that 250 individual investors will apply for the Act 22 program in 2014.
My phone rings at this point, 3 or 4 times a week with people wanting to know a little bit more.
Local businesses are welcoming the interest as well as the investment.
Are you seeing a shift? Are you seeing companies start to move here?
For sure. I'm seeing it in aerospace. I'm seeing it in other areas.
I have seen more people come to Puerto Rico in the last 2 years than I've seen in a long time. One of the biggest advantages of Act 20 and 22 is not even so much how many wealthy people come down, how much money they spend, but it's putting Puerto Rico back on the map.
The area's new visibility is attracting a wide range of investors. At the high end, there's billionaire John Paulson, who hasn't moved to the island, but he's committed hundreds of millions of dollars to buy and remodel the historic Condado Vanderbilt Resort.
He has a vision, and he's willing to put his money where his vision is.
By all indications, Puerto Rican investors don't resent competition from tax-advantaged outsiders. The capital they bring with them is simply too important.
The truth of the matter is, if we didn't have these laws, they wouldn't be here. And so they're only bringing incremental benefits to Puerto Rico.
What are our options? Having the real estate developments die and go away or crumble?
It's working. It's really working. We are receiving a lot of entrepreneurs that are partnering with our people, creating jobs, and we are really happy with the program.
Acts 20 and 22 are creating buzz around the business opportunities in Puerto Rico. But will they be enough to stimulate significant investment, especially when several U.S. states are also dropping their income tax rates? I put the question to Governor Padilla.
We are bringing people here. We are competing with other states. There's, I think, 7 or 9 states in the United States that offer zero income tax. And what is amazing is what they find when they come here and they see that everything that they heard about Puerto Rico is not true. That Puerto Rico is now lifting, is again in a way up, and they are putting their money here. You have Nick Prouty, you have John Paulson, you have many people, many important people in the financial world in the United States investing huge money in Puerto Rico.
Well, what happens with your relationship with the United States government when you have guys like John Paulson so publicly investing so big in Puerto Rico, and you could have politicians in New York like Chuck Schumer picking up the phone and saying, John, you leave this state, we're going to have a problem. Are you ready to hurt your relationship with U.S. politicians?
No, I think it's a competition issue. What I should do when a company from Puerto Rico go to You Can Beat Zero offer of New York? They are competing. They want to compete. We want to compete. And let me tell you something. I hate to compete. I just like to win.
Talk to me about Act 2022 in comparison to what the Virgin Islands has offered for the last 14 years, because they tried and it never really took off. Why is it working here?
Then you have a very good example there. Our friends, our neighbors, USVI, they tried for 14 years and no one's took a look at it. And Puerto Rico is now competing. We have a little more to offer because Puerto Rico is even though it's 135 miles island, it's like a continent. You have rainforests, you have beaches, you have many things to see here and many things to do here. So we are successful. We are succeeding.
What does it mean for wealthy Puerto Ricans, though? With the 2022, Americans can be here for 6 months and 1 day, and then their tax inheritance is completely exempt for all investments. If a Puerto Rican buys something outside Puerto Rico, they're going to be faced with a big tax. Is that fair?
No, well, the fact is that these people is bringing wealth to Puerto Rico, and that's good for everybody here, for the wealth class and for the poorest class in Puerto Rico.
But they would be exempt on inheritance tax for all investments, not just investments made in Puerto Rico. Is that fair? Shouldn't you say to these Americans, you'll be exempt, but only on investments you make here?
As I told you before, I'm not here just to compete. I'm here to win. And if there's anything that I can do to bring them, I will do it.
But does it hurt your relationship with Puerto Ricans?
No.
Because right now, I'm watching CPG and other Puerto Rican developers lose out to John Paulson. Don't you want Puerto Ricans to win?
They are saying they were struggling, and now they have someone that bought to them and, let's say, help them in a very hard situation. Without people like Paulson that invest on their assets, they would be able to lose. They were about to lose a lot of money, and they are not losing that money now. So that helps a lot. It's a synergy that we are creating. And for example, politicians in the states, they want to compete in favor of the state of their states. I need to do the same. I respect them. We work together. Their states are competing. They are blooming. New York is great. It's great. Everybody loves New York.
Yeah.
But we need to compete. We need to improve. And there's a lot. There's more than 2 million Puerto Ricans there who wants their politicians taking good care of Puerto Rico.
There are some here who argue that John Paulson may be getting an unfair advantage. He's made investments, and now he has the government in his back pocket, and he's getting looks on deals that no one else has.
To all of them, they just need to move to Puerto Rico, and they will have the same treatment.
But what if they already live here? I'm saying Puerto Ricans are saying that the Puerto Rican government wants to have Americans standing here saying, we believe in Puerto Rico. What about Puerto Ricans who believe in Puerto Rico?
Let's do the Vanderbilt Hotel, for example. No one were about to vote that. And John Paulson came and did it and saved the game for that asset. A lot of Puerto Ricans saw there is investment getting to shore because they had this investor that came here. We need to share wealth, not poverty. We need to bring wealth to Puerto Rico. We need to create wealth, to have wealth to share. The other way is to share poverty. And I'm not here to share poverty. I'm here to share wealth.
Do you have any concern that maybe overdevelopment is happening in terms of luxury real estate? Are there that many hedge fund millionaires who you think are going to move here with their mega yachts?
No, what at the same time we are doing that. We are doing a lot of other things. We are doing the new Puerta de Tierra, that we are investing a lot of money in the land or in the area between the El Condado, where the Vanderbilt is, and the Old San Juan. It's the two main tourism places, and they are not together, and we are putting them together. We are investing in new hotels, in new middle-class housing projects, creating jobs for people. And that's, you can see that in many other areas. For example, crime rate have been a huge reduction. It have been driven down in a huge amount, and it's connected. People have more jobs. If you have more jobs, you reduce unemployment, you reduce crime rate. That's why you cannot fire 30,000 people one day to the next day. That's hurt us a lot. We are reversing that. And let me tell you something. The first balanced budget in 22 years, $70 billion in debts. I have been here for 17 months. We are giving a turn around to Puerto Rico, and that's not happening one day to the next.
Where are you in the cycle? Would you say you're at the bottom right now, or you're starting to climb up?
Well, the economists, they said that we already get to that inflection line in the economic growth. The planning board forecast for second year in a row positive growth, and that's very good. That's very good for Puerto Rico. I think we are in that inflection line.
And the number one way for you that you're going to get yourself out of this hole, would you say it's Act 2022?
No, it's a more comprehensive. There's no only one basket. We need to bet on that one, but we need to bet on tourism, on agriculture, on manufacturing. 48% of our GDP came from manufacturing, 48%. So Law 20 and Law 22 are just part of the way that we can bring new wealth to the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico.
When we come back, we're headed to a former U.S. naval base in Puerto Rico called Roosevelt Roads. It doesn't look like much today, but it's central to the island's vision for tomorrow.
Right now, in all this hemisphere, there's not a place with the infrastructure that the Navy created on that 8,000-acre property.
For over 60 years, the U.S. Navy's Southern Command was located at an air base in Puerto Rico known as Roosevelt Roads. But in 2004, the Navy moved out, costing the island thousands of jobs and millions of dollars in revenue. Now the redevelopment of Roosevelt Roads is a key priority in the government's economic plan, and it's finally ready to get off the ground. Ample land, an abundant coastline, highways, hangars, and houses. It's easy to see the potential of Roosevelt Roads.
Right now, in all this hemisphere, there's not a place with the infrastructure that the Navy created on that 8,000-acre property.
But on the ground, it's a ghost town. When the Navy abandoned the base 10 years ago, an estimated $300 million a year vanished from the island's economy. A reuse plan stalled for lack of private investors and public funds. The surrounding community of Ceiba has been devastated.
After we lost the base, we lost many people who paid taxes. So that debilitated the economy, and the state is not awarding the municipality enough money to rehabilitate the city.
Now, after a decade of decay, the Puerto Rican government feels it has a formula for the revival of Roosevelt Roads.
We want a world-class developer to do something with order, with a plan.
A new master plan for the site features zones for hotels and entertainment, sports and recreation, commerce, and ecotourism. This month, the local authority begins taking proposals from developers to fill out this blank canvas. Rodrigo Veloso and his partner, Alex Brito, have their proposal ready to go.
The vision is a city-like compound with entertainment at its core.
There's going to be a total redevelopment, primarily around the airport first and the ports. Then we're going to try to get some manufacturing, some universities, and then we're going to little by little start breathing life into it.
The site's infrastructure and location make it a convenient hub for aviation to destinations near and far. And the possibilities for commercial space travel have drawn interest from Richard Branson, who recently toured Roosevelt Roads with Puerto Rican officials. The government isn't shy about touting the site to other world-class investors and operators.
Companies like Disney, it's the only place in the world that they can have their cruise ships, they can have an airport that carries even B-52s, and at the same time have the land to develop theme parks.
Acres of potential and intriguing goals. But the challenge is the same as it's been for a decade. Selecting a plan, attracting capital, and moving the project from opportunity to reality.
Are you ready to make this happen?
Yes, and I promise the world and Puerto Rico that it will not take 40 years to make it happen in Roosevelt Roads.
The government's 20-year development plan for Roosevelt Roads projects investment of over $2 billion and the creation of nearly 25,000 jobs. It's expected that a master developer to oversee the project will be chosen by December. If Puerto Rico can move quickly and efficiently to draw investors to this opportunity, it will give a major boost to Governor Padilla's effort to reduce the island's debt and grow the economy. We'll be watching his progress closely. I'm Stephanie Ruhle. Thank you for watching.